Hey everyone, thanks for joining me today. Last year, I took in two crocodilians. One is this American alligator, and the other is a Morrellet's crocodile. Both these guys came from totally different situations. So I'm going to tell you today how I got them, why they're with me, and since it's their 1-year anniversary, give you an update on how they're doing in their new home. So don't go anywhere. I'm Mark Perpetua, and you're watching Croc Chat. This little alligator is the first of the two crocodilians I got the call for last November. It was November 2024, and I got a phone call about an alligator that needed some help. This guy came from a pretty unusual situation. You see, here in New York, it is illegal to have an alligator as a pet. Somebody must have had him as a pet because he showed up in a creek in Rockland County, New York. Yeah, it's not a good place for an alligator to be. He either escaped or more likely was released by his owner once they realized what a handful an alligator can be to take care of. Alligators do get quite calm. This little guy has learned how to behave around people. He's learning to trust being handled, and he's doing really good and is useful not only for videos like Croc Chat, but also in my live educational programs. Problem is, if you're busy at work or school and you don't develop this relationship, you might end up with an alligator that doesn't truly trust you. Big teeth, big jaws, it could actually give a dangerous bite. See, as alligators really don't make good pets. I don't want to be the person to tell anybody what they can or cannot get, but at the same time, you have to really know what you're getting in for. Alligators live for nearly 80 years. Alligators can grow 10 foot in length or more, and a big alligator is going to weigh 500, 800 pounds or even heavier if well fed in captivity. So, yeah, it's not an animal that most people are prepared to keep long term. So what do you do if you get a baby alligator and it outgrows you? Well, unfortunately, like we said, we assume this guy was just released. And November in New York is not a place for a little alligator. Temps are getting cold, winter is upon us, and there's no way he could have survived. Now, a lot of people have asked me, well, what about those videos and pictures we see on social media where alligators put their nose through the ice to breathe until the ice melts? Well, you got to consider the difference between a New York or Northeast winter and a Southeast winter in Carolinas to Louisiana and North Florida. First of all, the cold snaps that hit their natural habitat are not going to last very long. They're also not as cold as a New York winter is. So you get enough of a cold snap to cause a thin layer of ice that's only going to last for a day or two. After that, the ice melts and the alligators can move on. Because of the time and temperature, you also are only going to get a really thin layer of ice. So the bulk of the alligator below the ice is actually in water that's warmer than the air temperatures. So while these guys can survive cooler temperatures than some of their cousins, they're not going to be able to withstand a New York winter. Our winters last for months. Our temperatures not only get below freezing, they can get below zero for nights on time. And then our ice is going to form 10, 12, 14 inches thick. There's no way an alligator, even a large alligator with lots of body mass, can survive its entire head frozen for a length of time in a block of water. So that's why we don't have alligators in New York, and that's why it was a good thing that this guy was found when he was. Just 2 days after I picked up that lost little alligator, I got a message about this beautiful Morrellet's crocodile. This is Tiki. Tiki was living at a reptile education center in Connecticut. She was in a beautiful enclosure, lots of room, very clean, and she was well taken care of. So her situation was very different from that alligator's. The problem with Tiki, however, is being in a busy environment with lots of visitors, she had a very strong feeding response. And she knew that people are the ones that bring food in captivity. So she would quickly dive off her basking spot, swim frantically up against the glass at the front of her enclosure, trying to get to anybody that visited, thinking that they were bringing her food. Now, of course, she couldn't hurt them and she wasn't hurting herself, but the owner was a little concerned that she wasn't getting enough rest in between meals and that she might be stressing herself out. So he decided that maybe best for Tiki if she went to a private collection where there wasn't a lot of visitors and a lot of movement around her cage all day long. And boy, has it been working. As you can see, she's a very calm crocodile. She's become a great ambassador for reptile encounters in our reptile programs. She's been a big part of Croc Chat, helping to promote croc conservation. But what's really cool is we've been able to train her to calm down that feeding response. Yeah, she's learning to station for food. And basically what stationing is with a crocodilian is similar to getting a dog to sit. Instead of lunging for food with that great predatory explosion that you see all the time in Nat Geo and other programs, this is an animal that has learned to wait patiently in a specific spot of her cage, her station, and she holds her mouth open, waiting for me to throw her food. Now, this isn't just a sign of their intelligence, but it's also a natural behavior. Crocodilians spend a lot of time stalking, measuring up the situation, their prey, the distance between them, and they do have a lot of patience that we don't normally get to see that has to occur before that explosive energy to finally capture dinner. But for those of you who aren't familiar with all species of crocodiles, there are 17 crocodile species identified today by scientists, and the Moralettes is one of the medium-sized crocodilian. Moralettes crocodilians, or Moralettes crocodiles, are native to eastern Mexico along the coast into Belize and parts of Guatemala. They're a freshwater species living in swamp-type habitats, and one of the things they're known for is, even though they have that typical crocodile grin of the notches that allow bottom teeth to show when the mouth is closed, they also develop a very broad, thick head near the eyes or the base of the snout. And that is an adaptation for the type of prey that they like to eat. This is an animal that'll feed on smaller mammals, birds, and that strong, thick skull is also perfect for crushing turtle shells, just like our American alligator. But like I said, they're on the medium size. This is an animal that is actually smaller than the American alligator. The Moralettes crocodiles average somewhere around 8 to 9 feet, maybe just a little bit over. Since Tiki is a female, she'll probably end up on a little bit smaller end of that size range. So there you go. 2 different crocodilians from 2 different situations that have become important parts of Reptile Encounters and Croc Chat TV, so that we can help educate the public not only on how amazing these animals are in the wild, but the importance for their conservation. So if you like Croc Chat, you might also want to check out my book. Yes, I wrote a book. It's available on Amazon. I'll leave the link for it in the descriptions and in the comments. And remember that all book sales and a lot of what happens here on Croc Chat is my way of helping give back to crocodilian conservation. So thanks for watching. Stay tuned, like, subscribe, and till next time, later, Gator.